Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Eldercare's weekly webinar series. I almost said good morning, almost, but I've been practicing saying good afternoon all day. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. I know that we normally do these at 10 a.m., but I could see that the 2 p.m. time is working great for everybody. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Stephen, yep, good afternoon, right? I see more and more people popping on. I see familiar names and I see brand new names. So welcome to the first, or if this is your first time, to our weekly webinar series. It's really hard for me to say that sometimes. I am Adrienne Ostras. I'm the Digital Marketing Director here at Eldercare. We do these every Thursday, different topics, and they're topics that you're suggesting. So remember, there's a survey at the end where you can type in additional topics that you're wanting. But this has definitely been a topic requested from the agents because of all the new rules that are happening around ACA. So for those of you who aren't aware what today's topic is, it will be about HealthSherpa, and this is going to be a tool that you can use to make quoting and enrolling those ACA products easier for you. And I know majority of our agents do sell Medicare products, but we have so many that are now getting into the ACA because of all the spouse in the house training we've been doing. So hopefully you all have attended one of our spouse in the house trainings and you're not leaving money on the table. And hopefully this tool that you're going to see this afternoon shows you how easy it can be for you to help, maybe that younger spouse or that younger family that might be in that household that you're helping. So as always, we want this to be a conversation, not a presentation. Find the question box. I see Stephen's found it. Find the question box. Tell us good morning. Let us know where you're from. Again, thank you for being here. And without further ado, I would love to introduce our special guest, Mr. Ross Baker with HealthSherpa. Good afternoon, Ross.
Good afternoon, Adrienne, and thanks so much for having me today.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to all of our brokers here. And just so you know who you're talking to, these are all of our independent brokers. They're from all across the US. So you definitely have a national view here of who you're talking to. And we are super excited for you to show us again. I know that you've done this before, but to show us again how this tool helps people and anything new. So thank you so much again. And I'm gonna pass it over to you, Ross.
Sounds great. All right, so I've got my screen shared here. Again, thank you everybody for taking time out of your busy OEP day today, and AEP for those Medicare folks. Happy to go through and show you a bit about HealthSherpa and do some platform demoing here as well. So as we go through, we are recording this webinar, correct, Adrienne?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. And then if you have questions, submit them in the questions box for GoToMeeting. And then I think if you have technical difficulties, you can catch the recording or try calling in and changing your audio settings there. But what we'll cover today, we'll go over very high level who HealthSherpa is, what our business is, and how we work with agents and brokers. We'll touch on how to set up your HealthSherpa account or how to get it ready for OEP if you haven't done that already. We'll walk through a live platform overview showing you how to quote and enroll and manage some client details post-enrollment. And then we'll take you through some additional HealthSherpa resources. In addition to the recording of today's training, we'll also send out this slide deck with some additional links and information that you'll be able to reference there. And then we'll hit all those questions towards the end there. All right, so to start, HealthSherpa Marketplace. HealthSherpa is essentially a marketplace to connect agents and brokers that have consumers they need to enroll in ACA qualified health plans with the issuers that offer those ACA qualified health plans. So essentially what that looks like is we've been around since about 2014 actually, but have really just started to become more and more popular over the past 5 years or so with the invention of enhanced direct enrollment, or EDE. So we've actually finished plan year 2023 with over 7 million lives enrolled. I know we did just post earlier today, we've already hit 1 million lives enrolled in the first 9 days of OEP for plan year
Wow.
2024. So as I'm sure all of you are aware, it's a great time to be in the ACA, writing clients on those plans.
Wow.
Here's a quick snapshot of our imprint. So it is important to note, if you're working in SBM states, currently at this time, you can't actually complete enrollments in any SBM states with the exception of Kentucky. And even Kentucky, it's kind of what we call a double redirect. If you've been in the ACA a while, you may know what that is, where you're starting a quote and a client record on HealthSherpa, but then you have to go out to the KY Connect website to do the actual application. And it's still Kentucky's application that isn't all that streamlined of a process, is what most agents and brokers tell us. But any FFM state, as well as SBMFP, which is basically a state like Oregon, Arkansas, Georgia, that's transitioning to a state-based marketplace, but is still using healthcare.gov for enrollments, those states are all able to quote and enroll right through HealthSherpa. Next year, when Georgia does move to fully state-based marketplace, they will be fully integrated with HealthSherpa as well. So that's going to be kind of our first flagship case study for a state-based marketplace connecting directly to an EDE partner. As you can see here, we do about 55% of total agent broker enrollments through our platform. Most of those enrollments are using the enhanced direct enrollment technology, and the average agent is writing about 100 apps during OEP, based on last year's OEP. The main advantage to using HealthSherpa is really right here. We'll touch more on this in a second, but 7.5-minute average EDE app time to complete an enrollment. Just a big time savings on the application process itself, as well as having a central location to keep all your clients and client data. And that's essentially what we do in the ACA, is make it easier, have data centrally accessible to you and your agents or agencies. You could save time with pre-filled renewals, improve client effectuation, view all their documents right in their client page. And you can see the application on HealthSherpa's over half the amount of pages than the healthcare.gov app, and takes less than half the amount of time on average, much less for renewals as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into account setup. So if you don't currently have a HealthSherpa account, you can click this link when we send this out, or just go to healthsherpa.com and click this Start Enrolling Faster button, and you'll create a HealthSherpa account. All you'll need to do that really is your NPN number and your FFM username. Once you create an account, you will see this Enable EDE button. So in order to access all of the features and connectivity that we're talking about here today, you do have to enable EDE first. And this is a one-time identity proofing step that CMS requires. Basically, you'll click that button, get a bunch of multiple choice questions about your personal credit history from one of the credit partners. Once you verify that identity, you're good for as long as you're using that account, and you shouldn't really need to do that again. After you enable EDE, CMS last year added another identity proofing step where you're going to actually integrate your FFM account. This is this portal.cms.gov account where you log in to do training mainly. And what you'll do is you'll click this blue integrate my account button on the settings page. It'll prompt you to log in with those cms.gov credentials, and that account will be connected for 30 days. Unfortunately, CMS is requiring that this is done every 30 days. We're trying to push them to at least 60 or make it a little easier on that front for agents, but right now it's every 30 days this needs to be refreshed. And then
And
once
Ross, before
yes,
you
please.
before you begin, I kind of want to put the plug in here because about getting set up. I just want to put the plug in that if you do have those ACA contracts through Eldercare, we do have a specific code for you when you register for your HealthSherpa account.
Yes, and I did not have that code handy, but I'll confirm it with you, Adrian, before we send this deck out. But to that point, once you have your HealthSherpa account, or if you have kind of an independent agent account right now, you can link that up to the Eldercare Insurance Services agency account. That will allow them to see visibility into your clients. They can help with potentially effectuations, DMI resolution, all kinds of additional value add services that they can provide to help kind of monitor your book and take a lot of that off of your plate for you. So we'll get this updated before we send this out. Just on the settings page, we'll have a joint code you just add in there. And then this is for everyone, whether you have a new account or you've had HealthSherpa for years. Before or during OEP, you definitely want to make sure you update all of your carriers on the carriers settings page. So you can find this going to the gear icon, carriers. This is where you add in all the states you're licensed in, and then you can indicate who you're appointed with. And then if you opt into the HealthSherpa referral program, you can refer out carriers that you're not appointed with. Okay. Also on kind of OEP prep here, FFM Marketplace Training, HealthSherpa is a CMS approved vendor for FFM training. And the benefit of using our training is you get free CEU credits in most states. I think there's 41 different states that you can get CE credits. If certain states, if you're new and doing the new agent broker training, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 credits depending on the state, and returning agents get anywhere from 2 to 5 credits depending on the state, I believe. The training itself is pretty much identical to it is identical to the FFM training. The quiz at the end is just a little different so that we can reward you with those CE credits. And it's the same process, really. You go into your marketplace learning management system, just select the HealthSherpa training down towards the bottom to start that training and do that training. All right. So we're going to get into a live platform overview real quick. So this is my agent test account. This is a staging environment. All the data in here is fake. As you can see, I've signed up. I've got my name up here with my NPN. I can see, if I join an agency, I may have an agency logo or name where this HealthSherpa logo is. Over on the left-hand side, I've got my navigation menu for the clients table, the leads table. I've got insights, which we should be revamping shortly here. And then bonuses, marketing, and settings. And then at the top, I've got start application, search marketplace, quote OnX. If I click this little arrow, I also have OffX medical, OffX dental. These three links here are all ways to begin the application process. Usually you're going to start an application right from scratch if it's more of a complex household situation and you want to get a marketplace eligibility determination first before actually shopping plans. I would search the marketplace typically if you know that your client or your prospect you're speaking with has an existing ACA plan. You can then search the marketplace, pull that application into your client dashboard, and update the existing application instead of creating a new one. And then we'll show you the quoter in a second here. Typically, what I advise agents to do if they're new or if they're just coming into their account for the first time in a while, you want to make sure you're ready to sell on a couple fronts here. Number one, always check the settings page. Make sure this email address is good not only for HealthSherpa to get in touch with you, but also it's client facing as well. So there are some CMS required emails that we send out on your behalf. If a client responds to that email, it's going to come to the email address you have in here. You can enable two-factor authentication for additional security measures. You would integrate your FFM account, which we've already done, and then just make sure your name, NPN, and FFM username looks accurate. This is where you can join an agency. If you have your own agency, you can create that agency. You can then join it to Eldercare. You can have downline agents join your agency. Basically, we have unlimited agent and sub-agency and agent nesting, I guess. And there's a number of different features you can set up here for your downline agents if that's something you have. You can also toggle on and off some of these post-enrollment emails. So we send a weekly digest email showing this would be an email to you, the agent, showing you any clients with outstanding binder payments or follow-up documents that are required to be made. We'll send follow-up document status changes and then document reminders to the actual clients as well. Once you verify that, you want to go to the bonuses tab. You would, if you're going to use the referral program to fill any of those contracting gaps, well, let me back up. When you go to the quoter, CMS requires that you show all plans in an available market. So you probably want to use the referral program just in case a consumer wants to go on a plan that you're not appointed with. You're still able to get paid for that enrollment. We're actually paying a bonus of up to $200 for every referral. This OEP paid out in $100 payment at 60 days after the submission, and then $50 after 4 months, $50 after 9 months of persistency there. So you would toggle that on, and then you can, and you'll see any referrals down here if you ever need that. But once you toggle that on, you'll want to adjust your carrier settings here. So, you know, if I'm only working with United, Cigna, I may do a referral for Blue Cross, HealthNet, Imperial, and just set this up like this. Maybe I only have United and Cigna contracts in Arizona. That way, when I'm working with a consumer, they select a Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona plan, I know it's going to automatically start a referral application so I can get a referral fee on it. All right. So now we'll go ahead and we'll pop into the quoter. And you can see this is really meant to be quick and efficient where you enter a specific market here. It's going to ask you to confirm the county if there's multiple counties associated with that zip code to make sure we've got the right plans displayed down below. We can add in the rest of our household members here. And then it will ask us some of these additional questions. Tobacco users may impact the premiums if they meet that definition of a tobacco user. Parents of children under 19, this may qualify people for Medicaid depending on other criteria. Same thing with if they're pregnant or eligible for other coverage, this could impact their tax credit eligibility. And again, we've got two kind of clearly separate sections here. We've got who's actually applying for coverage, who needs to be insured here, and then the household members and the household income. And this should be on a taxed household basis. So whoever is on their taxes as primary people or dependents when they do their tax return. And the reason is to figure this subsidy correctly here. So we can see three people at $50,000 here. The child may be eligible for CHIP here. If you've already gotten a denial or they've been redetermined recently, you can just check that box and continue on here. If they're at a lower income like this, it's going to tell you, hey, this person's probably not even eligible for Marketplace. You should just send them directly to Medicaid. And then if we're somewhere around here, it's going to tell them, okay, everybody in the household is eligible for tax credits as well as cost sharing reductions. And if you're not familiar, cost sharing reductions are essentially a secondary tax credit that lowers the out-of-pocket expenses as long as the consumer selects a silver plan. So now that we've got our quoting info in, we'll drop down to the plan results here. I will point out real quick, we have health and dental plans. Dental is on exchange dental plans, and these plans can only be added to a health application at the time of the initial enrollment as well. And it is the agent's responsibility to make sure you're appointed with the dental carriers in order to get commissions for that. We're just facilitating the enrollment here, really. Once we see all of our health plans here, we can see we've got 58 total plans available in this zip code for Sedona, Arizona. I've got some filters over on the left-hand side. I can adjust my max premium, my total deductible. I could add providers here. Where is that one I had the other day? Something like this. Then it's going to show these providers on the plan cards here. If I want to say, oh, I've got to have this provider in network, it's going to only show me plans that have that provider in network. Same thing with prescriptions here. I can add a prescription here with the dosage, and it's going to tell me, okay, whether or not that's on that formulary and an estimated cost for that. I can also filter based on carrier, metal tier. So for example, if I know they're CSR eligible, I may just want to look at silver plans at first, filter on network type, HMO, PPO, EPO. Easy pricing plans are a type of standardized plan design that CMS requires issuers to make available in markets that they're participating in. These plans have essentially set cost sharing amounts across metal tiers. So the Blue Cross Blue Shield Arizona easy pricing plan is going to have the same deductible out-of-pocket maximum in copays and coinsurance as the Aetna easy pricing plan, silver plan in that market. The only difference is going to be the premiums in the network for the most part. And of course, additional benefits carriers offer. Same thing with HSA eligible plans. I could filter on that as well. And then finally up here, right now, we do have a plan year selector. If you need to do like a SEP for 12/1, you can get that 2023 plans, or you can just shop 2024 plans for OEP 1/1 effectives. And then I can also sort. So if I wanted, I'm filtered on silver plans right now. Maybe I want to see the lowest max out of pocket here. I can sort that way. I've got 23 silver plans sorted by lowest max out of pocket. I could check compare on a few of these here. And then click compare 3 plans. It's going to bring me to this nice summarized table of the plans, their cost sharing, any providers and prescriptions I've added will be shown here if they're covered. And then we've got additional links out to the plan details page. Whoops. The summary of benefits and coverage for that specific plan, the formulary, and then the marketing brochure provided by the carrier. I actually, these marketing brochures are really useful. A lot of times they can have, it's just much easier to read than a summary of benefits and coverage, and they can have unique things like the $0 to $3 generic drugs that might not be captured in the SBC. Same thing with like this $100 in rewards for preventive care, other types of unique carrier-specific benefits. So very useful to have. One thing to note, anywhere in this quoting process, you can create a shareable link and send that to your client. So if I click this share button, I can email my client right from here and edit this email how I want. It pulls in my signature here, and then it's got a link directly to this page. I could also just copy this link and send it through like Gmail or Outlook, and it's going to bring the client to the page on HealthSherpa that I clicked the share button on. So if I want to send them these 3 plans, say, hey, these are your 3 best options, I could do that. If I want to go to like this one plan, I can click share button there, and that link's going to send directly to this specific plan details page. For now, I'm going to go back and going to click add to cart on this blue cross plan, start application. If I wanted to add dental, I'd click keep shopping. It's going to give me a pop-up here letting me know, hey, you're referring this client to HealthSherpa, attest that you're licensed in this state. If that's not right, you can pop back to your carrier settings and adjust those carrier settings. But I remember earlier I set Blue Cross Blue Shield Arizona to referral. So oddly enough, I don't think there are United or Cigna plans in staging. So I guess I'm going to do a referral application. All right. Whenever you're starting an application, you're required to search the marketplace to make sure there's not an existing application for this consumer. If there is, you always want to take that application and try to update it and work off the existing application. If you create multiple applications for a consumer on the marketplace, it's going to cause some issues with regards to the marketplace and their deduplication processes, and also sometimes the carriers could have some issues, or the individual could end up having coverage from 2 carriers, which they don't want to have because they could end up repaying the tax credit if they weren't eligible for one of those. So always search the marketplace first. Let's see. hoping to get somebody we haven't used, but kind of running out of cartoon characters here. So if I do search the marketplace, I can see, okay, Donald Duck has a couple applications here for 2023. They're already enrolled. Because I'm doing 2024, I could just create a new app, or I could go in and use that 2023 app if I wanted to renew that plan. From here, you can see over on the left, we've sectioned off the application to save time. Just note all of the changes we've made to the application, they've all been approved by CMS. Change requests, anything we do, we have to run by them first for pretty much everything, especially on the application. I'm not going to enter a social security number here, but definitely if your client has a social security number, it should always be entered. Even if they're not applying for coverage, it can help minimize data matching issues when the marketplace pings IRS, Department of Homeland Security, and Social Security Administration to verify the information the consumers put on this application. Email address is optional here. I'm going to add it in. We'll enter in their phone number, type. If they have specific written or spoken language needs for their materials from the marketplace, you can indicate that there. And then they can choose to get paper notices in the mail or get an email or a text as well. Once I create that primary contact, it's going to sync that application up with the marketplace, create the application in the marketplace database, and then I'll move into the actual household members and who's applying for coverage. So again, keep in mind on the household, you want to add everyone that is actually in the household. You want to make sure you check, yes, I want to see if they're eligible for cost savings, and then we'll enter in the other applicants here. And every time we save a person, you can see if somebody's not applying for coverage, I can just check no for the primary person, or I can just uncheck this box, and that will have them in the household but not applying for coverage, which is what we want for a correct application here. It's always going to ask you to map out the relationships of people. Actually, 3 people is enough. Once we have that, we'll indicate how everybody is related here.
Hey, do you mind going back one slide?
Sure.
I was going to hold this question to the end, but Stephen did ask, because he has a client right now that they have a foster child from Alaska, and he was curious how that would work. I just saw that option for adoptive parents, but
yeah, I think, yeah, like adopted, once you finalize the adoption process, I think you would just have parent-child. I'm not sure if there's like another option. That's a good question. I would probably ask CMS, because I feel like that's like, or the person's tax advisor, because like I think the question is this, how am I going to add this foster child to my tax return? Is it as a dependent, just like I would my child? If that's the case, I would assume it's you indicate they're a child here, or something along those lines. So
yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much everything's based off of how the IRS recognizes the relationship, right?
Right.
You can see, does everyone live here? We'll say yes for the sake of time, but if it was no, this is how the application is so much shorter and quicker generally. Anything that's not relevant, we kind of hide until it becomes relevant. So that dynamic question asking just saves a lot of time here. will indicate they do plan to file taxes. They'll file jointly, and they'll claim Q is a dependent. And then asked if anybody else under the age of 19 lives with them. This is mainly a Medicaid eligibility question, I believe. And then we're into the members section here. Again, anybody that has a social should add their social security number on here. It will almost 100% of times initiate a data matching issue if they have a social security number and they do not. If they don't have a social security number, there's other ways down here to indicate that. So for example, we'll say they don't use tobacco. Maybe they aren't a US citizen. We'll say no. Do they have eligible immigration status? We can say yes. And then we've got all of these options to indicate specific document types. And we can have the option, I believe, to attach them later on as well. For now, I'll just say yes, they are a citizen to make it simpler. Ask if they're incarcerated, detained, or jailed, because that may disqualify them from tax credits, as well as if they're an American Indian or Alaska Native, because these populations have the ability to use cost sharing reductions on any metal tier. And then ask some optional questions. The optional questions is getting a little longer here, but basically ask race and ethnicity down here, and then ask their if they're Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin. These are mainly used by CMS to make sure, basically see the ACA populations that they're reaching. This year, they have also added the sexual orientation and gender identity questions. These are also optional as well. I think you can just do nothing and leave them blank if you choose to, or you can fill them out if you want to bring those up with your client. Then it asks if they're naturalized or derived citizen. This is basically somebody that has gained citizenship throughout their lifetime. If yes, they'll have the opportunity to add in some of those documents that they probably have. I'm going to breeze through the other applicants real quick here for the sake of time. Show you how fast the application can go. Yeah, and the sexual orientation and gender identity questions are only for applicants. I believe it's like 13 or older or something like that. There's an age threshold for those. Then once we get into the income section here, we're going to indicate whether that applicant has any income. We'll say yes. For Donald, we'll say, you know, generally the first three are the most popular, but we've got all these different types of income. If they have a job here, we can indicate any different type of hourly, weekly, maybe they know what they make a week, but not a year. We can extrapolate that out into their annual income, just like this. So it'll say, okay, based on what you entered, Donald's income minus deductions will be 20,000. Is this correct? We're just going to say yes for simplicity's sake today. I could go back and add additional income sources here, but I'm going to continue on and add Daisy's income. Let's say she's self-employed, she does marketing work, and let's say 40, let's say she makes $3,500 a month. Self-employment's always going to be a monthly amount, and that's going to extrapolate this out to 42,000. If this isn't accurate, maybe somebody's income is hard to predict, say they're an independent health insurance agent and get paid commissions. They may say, yes, my income is hard to predict, and what you calculated is not right. It's actually this much that I'm projecting. This isn't always going to cause a data matching issue. It's really only if there's a big variance from year to year. So we'll go ahead and move on here. We'll say Huey doesn't get any income and $0 is correct. And then we'll get into the additional questions section here. So a lot of these questions try to identify if people are eligible for Medicaid or any additional state-based benefits, if they have disability or mental health condition that limits their ability to work or attend school or take care of their daily needs. Do any of these people help with daily activities or live in a medical facility or nursing home? If anybody has had Medicaid or CHIP that will end soon or that ended in the past 60 days or so here, sorry, 90 days actually, and same thing if they've been found not eligible of Medicaid or CHIP in the past 90 days. You can always, throughout the application, if anything's underlined or has a question bubble, you can hover over it and it will explain that question a little further if you need it. We're going to say they're not enrolled in coverage for everyone. There's also HRA questions. Typically, you know, if their employer is helping them pay for health insurance, you want to flush out the details of that arrangement before quoting and doing an app. Just because if they have like a formal ICRA or QSERA in place, it can sometimes negate the tax credits here. So if they do have that ICRA offered by an employer, which is basically a formal reimbursement plan with plan documents to reimburse them for their individual health insurance, they would indicate that here. And then if they have the more traditional employer-sponsored group coverage, they would indicate that here. Quick note, if any of you have been in the ACA space for a while, you may be familiar with the family glitch. The family glitch was resolved last year. So when we go through and if somebody is offered employer coverage, it's now going to do a double affordability determination here based on the cost of coverage for just the employee and then the cost of coverage for the entire family. So previously, if coverage was affordable for just Donald Duck, then the entire family would be disqualified for tax credits. Now we're checking to see if coverage is affordable for just Donald Duck on his employee coverage, as well as if it's affordable for the family. If it's not affordable for the family, which oftentimes it won't be, they can actually still qualify for tax credits on the exchange.
That's good.
Absolutely. It only took 10 years to fix. And then any additional questions here? These are more typically around qualifying life events to trigger an SEP. So during OEP, you probably won't have many of these, but upcoming changes or changes in the future around losing qualifying health coverage, recent changes are things that happened in the past that could trigger that SEP, as well as being offered an ICRA or QSERA within a 60-day date range here. All right, now we've got to the final step here. We're going to review all of the information provided, make sure everything's accurate. We're going to continue here, read the agreements and renewal of eligibility. Just to be clear, this renewal of eligibility, it's not for renewing the plan, it's for renewing the ability for the marketplace to use the client's income data here. If you disagree with this and say, I don't want my eligibility renewed, it's still going to renew their health insurance automatically at the marketplace through the passive renewal process. It's just not going to renew their tax credit eligibility, so they'll be paying full price. So for obvious reasons, definitely want to try to explain that to the consumer, that it's, hey, just the federal government using the income data provided on this application and from the IRS to make sure your tax credit is where it should be. And then we get into the tax attestations. You want to read those thoroughly, make sure that they understand and agree to them, and then we will finally sign on behalf of the client, let them know we're doing that. And it's going to send all of the information we just entered on the HealthSherpa application to the marketplace. The marketplace spits back eligibility determination letter right away, and it will tell us if we're eligible to enroll in a marketplace plan, if we're eligible for tax credit, CSRs, and any required follow-ups. And you can see here we've got required follow-ups for everyone because we did not include our Social Security numbers. We'll download that eligibility letter. I'm going to open it real quick. A lot of times, if you're doing an application and something doesn't seem right, the tax credit's off, or somebody's not eligible for an SEP, or different things like that. If you go and look at this, look at the actual eligibility notice, you can figure out why that is and maybe go back and update the application so it doesn't look that way. There's also instructions here on how to submit documents, but generally you can submit documents right through HealthSherpa, and it's just as easy. Once we're here, we're going to confirm the plan. So we've submitted the application eligibility information. We've gotten our determination. The final step in the enrollment is actually selecting the plan and transmitting that to the marketplace, who in turn transmits it to the carrier, in this case, Aetna. They can always withhold some of their tax credit and say, oh, I want to be safe, I'm only going to take $1,200 just in case my income is higher than I expect and I don't qualify for the full amount. I don't think many people are doing that, but it's a good option to have. And then we have some optional consent tools here. You can choose to upload your consent files later. You can say, I've already got proof in my own consent records, or I can upload a file here to HealthSherpa, which I'll do real quick. And once I attach that, I can complete the enrollment. If I had to go back and edit the app or shop plans again, or shop multiple plans where I could put people in the household on different enrollment groups. For example, I could have Daisy and Huey on a Blue Cross plan, have Donald on this Aetna plan. I could use the shop multiple plans tool for that. But for now, I'm just going to finalize the enrollment, and I'll get my confirmation page here that outlines the next steps, and we'll navigate back to the dashboard here. So step one, make your first premium payment of this by this date. You can, if this is part of your process, you can go ahead and help them make that payment right now. That's totally up to you, or you can just advise them to do that. If they enter their email address, they'll have an email from HealthSherpa already with very similar information here about next steps for binder payment and submitting marketplace follow-ups. And then we can pop into our dashboard here to show you what the client page looks like. So you'll come to this client page after you submit an enrollment, after you claim an existing ACA application from the marketplace, or if you're on the client's dashboard, you can just click any client's name and it will bring you into this detailed view of that client record. We've got a number of sections here at the top. You can see follow-ups. I can pay that premium on behalf of my client or help them pay it. I can verify income here. So essentially you click verify follow-ups, it's going to bring you to this page. You can see all of the acceptable documents to verify an income DMI are outlined here. I can indicate the document I'm uploading, upload that document, and it's going to transmit that to the marketplace. So when I go back here to Donald Duck, who I just enrolled on my client's page, I can see they're in that banner Aetna plan, their gross premium, their net premium, effective date, when I created the application, any actions required on the documents, or sorry, their document status. This is actually updated in real time, and then their payment status. This has to be refreshed. So you can see with this client, it says as of 11/8/23. If I click this blue refresh button, it'll sync that application with the marketplace and bring back the freshest data there. So that may change the payment status or something like that. If I click back into Donald Duck here, we'll go through the rest of the client details page. We've got a summary of the application here. Real quick, if there's ever a scenario where, you know, say I'm enrolling Donald Duck and he doesn't know his 3 children's social security numbers off the top of his head, because who does, you can still enroll them without a social security number. It will generally create a DMI like we have up here, but then instead of submitting documents to the resolve the DMI, I can simply view or edit the application and add those social security numbers back in, and that will get rid of the DMI in most scenarios. There may be other reasons for the DMI to have been triggered, such as, you know, maybe I put in Don Duck and social security has my name as Donald, things like that. But generally, adding missing information is a quicker way to resolve DMIs. Then we've got the status that's enrolled when it was last updated. We have the agent assister, which is the marketplace value for who actually helped submit the enrollment here. An agent of record is actually stored at the marketplace on the policy or plan level. So we've actually, if you've used HealthSherpa in the past, we've recently moved that down here where it's going to show the agent name and last initial and their NPN here for the most recent agent of record as well. Then we've got our enrollment history. We can see that eligibility determination letter. We've got consent records that I've uploaded. You can download these as well. You can upload additional consent records for the client. Say they have a baby in April and need to add that. You can just upload a screenshot of an email that shows that they've requested that update, things like that. And then I can add notes here like needs dental plan, and that will save on the client record here. Also, if I need to edit the application, I can do that from here. I can also change plans up until the effective date. I think is technically the last day I could change plans, but obviously you don't want to be doing it right at the 0 hour. And then when I pop back to my clients tab here, I've got a search bar here where I can search a client name, see all of their records here. I can filter based on states. If I want to look at all of my Arizona clients, I can do that, or specific document or payment statuses. If I want to see everybody that, you know, maybe everybody that was terminated, I can see that here. And then if I ever need to, I can, like, for example, if I actually, we'll go back to the terminated, maybe these plans were terminated, I'm no longer working with these clients, I can archive these plans, and it's just going to hide them from my normal client view here. if I ever need to see those archived plans, I can just filter the archive status to all or archived to see, whoops, those plans there, plan records. Also during OEP, we have renewed or not renewed up until December 15th. And then if I need to export this data, I can pull an export from the submission date. So say I want to see my OEP to date, I can export all of my client records. If I want to include unsubmitted, searched, and claimed applications, these were ones I searched the marketplace, I claimed an application, pulled it into my account, but I never actually resubmitted it or made any changes to it. I can include those and then just click export, and it will send me an email with a link to download a spreadsheet. Very similar interface on the leads dashboard. If you do save a lead in the quoting process or click the share button, those leads will be shown here. We've got the different statuses. Shopping is they're still in the quoting process. Applying, they've started an application but not completed it. And confirming is they've submitted an eligibility determination result, but they haven't finalized the plan selection yet. Insights tab provides you some metrics into submitted apps and leads. And then our marketing tab, we've got a direct marketing link down here that you can use. You can also customize it with a UTM parameter tracking, and you can customize some of your branding over here, the company name and phone that consumers would see, your logo, colors, things like that. All right, so I'm gonna pop back. Most of my final slides here are just additional resources you can find within your HealthSherpa account. So we've got our What's New product log. It's just a running log of product updates we've shipped. Getting Started has short videos and recaps similar to this training. And then we've got our searchable help center that can be found under this question mark button in your account. And then we also have our HealthSherpa agent support team available via phone, email, and chat support from your agent dashboard. Even during OEP, they typically respond in under a minute on that chat. That's definitely my preferred method. And then I've got some common agent questions and some additional features here with links that might be helpful, as well as a bunch of additional compliance resources if you want to delve into those around the consent and review requirements that are new this year. All right, for the sake of time, let's go ahead. Adrian, do we have any questions on the chat or anything like that?
Yeah, we do have a few questions, and thank you everyone. I just want to say thank you for those of you who are still on here. Thank you for taking the time and staying on and learning about this platform. I am going to try and knock out some of these questions. You already answered Steven's, and he had to hop off, it looked like, so I think he had another question. He wanted to know if he enrolled someone last year and they want to add their spouse, would they have to do a separate application for their spouse?
If they are filing taxes jointly, they should not do a separate application. So if I go to my clients tab here, let's see if I have somebody. All right, so yeah, if I've got somebody that's on a 2023 plan here, I can go into Bob's account here.
So if they're filing jointly, then they would need to go to that spouse's application and add them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and depending on how long they've been married, like if they were married for all of 2023 and they just weren't on the application, you may want to update the 2023 application first, and then you can go through and renew that into the new plan. Because, again, everybody in the tax household is required to be on the application so that you get the right tax credit. And that's really important, because if you don't get the right tax credit when the consumer files their taxes, the IRS is going to figure the right tax credit, and they may claw back some of the tax credit that consumer received, or in some cases, they may actually give them money back that they were entitled to.
Okay.
But there is a reconciliation event there. So.
Okay, awesome. Great question, Stephen. I was waiting for someone to ask this question. So Felicia has asked, do you have the permission form to assist the client integrated in HealthSherpa?
Yep. So you can find that real easy on the question mark, Help Center, and consent. Active consent, managing consent here, all the way down. We actually, we haven't advertised this, but we actually have this form in Spanish too, which I know a lot of agents were asking for. But we've got the standard consent form, as well as a referral consent form if you're referring the client to HealthSherpa. That one's slightly different, but we'll pop this open. I think this is also linked on that finalization page. It's very similar to the CMS model consent form as well. And we are working on creating an in-product solution here that allows, as I'm going through the application, it allows me to send an email or eventually a text message to my consumer to open up a consent request and verify that and have it stored automatically. So for the agents that do need a consent documentation tool, we're working on that. We're hoping to get it out as soon as possible.
Okay, but for now they just get that PDF, and then I think in the application process it lets you upload it.
Yep, you can upload it. That's definitely helpful. If there is ever an incident where somebody else has resubmitted your client's application or made unauthorized plan changes, anything along those lines, definitely helpful to have it right in HealthSherpa on the client record so you can access it quickly. And also show, hey, I've had this consent since X date when I uploaded it with my application.
Right. Yep. It's definitely to protect everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Anton said, is there a way to compare plans based on anticipated health usage, such as light, moderate, or heavy?
Let's see. When I go to the quoter here, I believe I thought there was a utilization thing. There isn't right now. We find that most of our agents kind of do that on their own.
Mm-hmm.
If you go through our direct to consumer workflow that I think can be found on the website here. I don't even know if I can. Okay. So like up here, it says shop plans. If I were to go through the shop plans, this is very similar to what your agent marketing link would look like. You can indicate your expected usage. And then once I get to the C plans here, it's going to give me my most affordable for high usage and a breakdown of my expected use. I believe this is also available Let me just check real quick from your direct marketing link. I'm not 100% sure if it's the same exact user experience though. Let me just double check real quick. Okay, no, so I don't think we have that available for agents, unfortunately. But I'll take that back to the product team.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Great question. Thank you. Carla asked, do you have a separate vision and dental plan? So I think you showed us like how you can quote the dental. You just move to the dental tab.
Yeah, so for on exchange, when you're quoting, you can add, whoops, you can add in a dental plan. So like if I have this health plan added in my cart, I'm going to keep shopping, and then I can shop dental plans. I can, do all the same thing, filter by carrier. I could add this plan to the cart as well, and it will be on that same FFM application.
Okay.
So they could enroll that way as long as they add the dental at the initial health enrollment. It's got to be added at that time. The other
Okay.
option we do have is OffX Dental. This is something we kind of piloted last year. Unfortunately, it only has a couple carriers available. It's got Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona and United Health One. United Health is available in all of the states that those dental plans are available in, I believe. And you can actually enroll at any time. This is a standalone ancillary product, so you can enroll at any time directly on HealthSherpa. You can create the payment. Just keep in mind, you have to be appointed with United Healthcare. It's going to let you submit the enrollment no matter what, but you're responsible for being appointed to actually get paid there. And once you complete it on HealthSherpa, then you would see that in your UH1 back office.
No, that's great news. We've been doing a lot of training on UH1 because we now offer that. So
Excellent. Awesome.
that's
Well,
great news.
perfect.
I think I have like two more questions. So
Sure.
Felicia asked if she has to record the calls for these enrollments, which I don't believe you do. I believe, or maybe you know more about that, but all I know for sure is that
Yeah,
Medicare enrollments have to be recorded.
exactly. So the documentation requirements are actually outlined here in these compliance resources, but as you don't have to record calls. What you have to have is consent documentation that a consumer has opted to engage you as their agent broker that's going to
Mhm.
help them enroll in a marketplace plan. And there's specific outlines of exactly what that is that are found here. Like, oh, that's going to make me log in. Here's one example where the CMS specifically outlines what needs to be in this documentation for both consent and consumer review. So these two types of documentation, one way to comply with that is to just record phone calls and make sure you're touching on these bullet points, but you don't really need to. That's where this model consent form comes in. That's where there's other consent solutions out there. I think we're working on a consent and review solution that's going to be available shortly here. But honestly, like if you cover this stuff in an email or a text thread and then save that thread, that will be sufficient. So it's really up to you and how you run your business and your sales process to gather that documentation in a way that aligns with your current processes.
Okay, yeah, very good. Thank you for showing those resources again. Last question from James. He said that he is registering on the CMS portal, which I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to do, James, because we're specifically talking Health Sherpa. But he's saying something along the lines of it's having him wait 5 days or to register as a non-agent. So
I'm not sure if James has done his FFM training, but I
right,
think,
maybe that's what he's trying to do, James. And if you're trying to get FFM certified, we have all the guides and links and everything on how to do that. Especially it is going to matter if you're a new agent versus a returning agent.
yeah,
But we can help you
and,
with
and
that for
make
sure.
make sure you do the Health Sherpa FFM training to get CE credits.
Oh, right. Yes, yes. Um, is that a specific link? I think you showed it in the presentation.
Yeah, I think it's up here somewhere. Um, yeah, when they're in their CMS portal, it'll just say Health Sherpa training, and then I think like there's pretty much most of the states are going to offer some sort of CE credits, you know, one for new agents, one for returning agents. 2 and 5's pretty common there, so just an easy way to get free CE credits for something you're required to do anyway. One point on that though, James, if you have completed FFM certification, it typically takes 48 hours for CMS to validate your NPN as ready to sell on the FFM and for Health Sherpa to be able to see that. So if you're running into issues with creating a Health Sherpa account or enabling EDE, it may because your NPN is not valid in the CMS database yet. So typically wait 2 days, and if you're still having issues, reach out to Health Sherpa agent support.
Yes,
If it's something else, reach out to CMS or maybe Eldercare.
absolutely. We are definitely all here to help you be successful in this industry. And so with that, thank you so much, Ross, for taking the time to teach our brokers about Health Sherpa. I really hope that this training has inspired you to see how easy it is to be offering these products to your clients as well. Um, and I just can't stress it enough. I mean, you definitely don't want to be leaving money on the table when you're helping with Medicare. There's always going to be opportunity to help the entire family in this industry, which is why it's so amazing. I will close on again, you get access to this tool for doing business with Eldercare. We do have Aetna, Ambetter, CareSource, Cigna, Medica, Molina, Oscar, United Healthcare, all for ACA carriers. If you want to know what carriers are in your state, call us. A marketer is happy to tell you exactly what's going to be in your area. And then once you're set up with those, we will hook you up with Health Sherpa and get you access to it. So thank you again, Ross.
Thanks so much for having me, and thanks everyone for attending.
Yes, absolutely. You still have quite a few people on, and we appreciate it so much, especially during this busy time of year.
All right, everyone, have a great OEP and look forward to working with you all.
Yes, thank you. You all have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.